Thank you for joining us for another episode of the TFL all-wheel drive slip test. This time we've got the new Lexus RX 450h, and we took a lot of your comments and criticisms about the last Subaru video into account before we did this one. Now obviously we aren't comparing this $54,000 Lexus RX 450h to the $25,000 Subaru Outback we tested last time, but what we can compare is how the all-wheel drive systems work in slippery and low traction situations, and both of these all-wheel drive systems are about as different as they come. Now in the last video we did with our slip test here, we received over 800 comments, and I must say I read them all and took a lot of copious notes on how to make this test better, and I really do appreciate all the comments you guys had because they really did help. Now the first thing we took in mind via your suggestion is we added little feet or little pads to the bottom of our roller system so that they don't go shooting out as badly as they did before. Add a little bit of protection so it's not just metal on concrete. Next thing we did is once the vehicle's on the rollers and settled into the crack like this, we move the ramp from the back of the rollers to the front so that when the vehicle drives off, it's not going to be such a harsh transition. If you haven't seen our Subaru Outback all-wheel drive slip test, be sure to check that out because that'll give you some reference on how our test is set up. And we're going to replicate a lot of those same procedures, plus add an additional challenge. Now, unlike the Subaru, this vehicle right here is a hybrid, and it uses a unique Lexus hybrid all-wheel drive system. Here's how it works. There's no direct couple between the engine and the rear wheel. See, the gasoline engine only has the ability to power the front wheel, so instead, according to Lexus, the Lexus hybrid drive system pairs the D4S injection 3.5 liter V6 gasoline engine with two high torque electric drive motor generators for strong acceleration and passing performance. Instead of transfer gears and a drive shaft to the rear wheels, the available all-weather drive system employs a second independent electric motor to drive the rear wheels when needed to help maintain optimal traction. So what that means is this vehicle uses an electric motor in the rear to power the rear wheels only. So in this first test, the front wheels are mounted in the roller. What this means is the vehicle is going to rely entirely on that back-driven electric motor to get us off these rollers. This simulates a complete loss of traction in the front. So into neutral, let the vehicle settle. Into drive, steady throttle application, and we're down. But it took a lot of spinning. So we made it down, but it took far more spinning than in the Subaru. We're going to try it one more time. Okay, front wheels are spinning, you can feel them, just at idle. Now a little bit of gas, a lot more spinning. Full throttle, nothing's happening. Why aren't we moving? Full throttle right off the bat, and it's down, but you have to shock the system. I tried to gradually apply throttle, it wasn't getting me off. So kind of a disappointing result on the first two slip tests involving just the front wheels on the roller. So this one is going to be a little bit different. I'm going to go ahead and disable traction control. Where is my button? Right here. Traction control turned off, the car says. Into drive. Apply a little bit of gas. Once again, took a lot of spinning before it actually got off the roller. So that rear electric motor you can feel has a lot less system power than the front two.
So Tommy took this through our patented TFL slip test, right?
Yep.
And the results are pretty interesting. We wanted to come out here in the snow country and actually test the all-wheel drive system and see how it does in the real world.
You're not the TFL guys, are you?
We are the TFL guys.
Hey guys, Nathan here with Mikey behind the camera, and we are headed up to over 11,000 feet in elevation with our first snow of the year, our first real snow. We're taking this, the 2018 Lexus RX 450h. Up there, we're gonna do a body review and we're gonna use, well, all-wheel drive in this surface. Now, if you listen, you can hear just a little bit of noise, and that is the fact that this has what's known as a 2-speed, continuously variable transmission with overdrive. Combined with the 3.5-liter V6 engine and the electric motor, this vehicle puts out a combined 308 horsepower. For those of you who are wondering, yes, the electric motor actually goes to power the rear wheels. So when you're in a low traction situation, the rear wheels will kick in and push you out.
So it's rolling on some Bridgestone Ecopia tires that are sort of an economy focused all season.
Yeah.
They are mud and snow rated, but they're not a dedicated snow tire.
Oh no, not at all. And so far, you know, we've lost traction a few times. I would say they're relatively good at self-cleaning from what I saw, but
yeah,
you know, basically speaking, the vehicle itself had to rely on its all-wheel drive system to really get out of trouble.
And it did a good job though. I mean, you can see from the footage that we have, the front starts spinning, right?
Yep.
And then, you know, they spin for a second, but then the computer realizes what's going on and it quickly sends power back to the electric motor in the rear. And you actually get going pretty easily in what is some kind of deep snow, actually. I mean, there's a good, what, 4 or 5 inches of accumulation on the ground here.
Yeah.
So I'd say the all-wheel drive system is doing its job really well.
Yep.
And if you had some decent snow tires, this thing would be a monster in the snow. Of course, this is a hybrid, Nathan, so people are going to care about the fuel economy numbers. And it does really well, actually. It's super efficient. 31 mpg city and 28 mpg on the highway, which for something this big, it's a mind-blowing number for fuel economy.
Yeah, and this is a vehicle that is supposedly capable of towing up to 3,500 pounds. That's not too bad. The other thing is that if you're curious, you don't lose much room because of the batteries. As a matter of fact, they go under the rear seat. So that's where the weight is, and that's good for a vehicle like this. You've got all the weight from the engine up front, and then you have weight from the batteries over the rear wheels, which will help you in low traction situations.
We are in a rather large snowy parking lot.
Yes, we are.
I think there's one thing we have to do.
Yeah. Yeah, you holding on?
Donuts.
Well, let's see if it lets us.
Try and do donuts.
Oh, it doesn't want us to do
not
it
happy
at all.
about donuts.
No.
No, it really hates
It keeps your foolhardiness to a minimum. Let's see if I can speed up a little bit and then crank it over. So it's cut power completely. My foot's all the way down.
Oh yeah.
It's
unhappy.
barely. So I can feel the rear end actually pushing us, and the front end completely killed power.
Okay, what if we turn off traction control?
Yes. See, it's over here. Hold it down.
And put it in sport mode?
And then sport mode. Should be interesting.
ESC turned off, pre-collision brake system unavailable. Oh.
Oh, it's spinning tires happily now.
That's encouraging.
Yeah, now we're plowing and going straight, and it's terribly dangerous. I'm going straight, and my wheels turned all the way. It's not the car's fault. It's my fault. So yeah, there's a reason why traction control exists.
Okay, so this next test represents a loss of traction at the front left and rear right corners. So neutral, let the vehicle settle, into drive, and feel the vehicle spinning. Oh, very good result. Interesting, let's try that again. There was no hesitation there. It didn't take any slippage before it just rolled right off. Once again, no problem. I'll try it for a third time. That time I used a little bit more throttle. Neutral, let the vehicle settle. Into drive. Foot off the brake, a little bit of throttle. And it just pulls it right on down. So, very good result for the diagonal test. So we had a somewhat disappointing experience today in this new Lexus RX 450h. Even on a relatively flat surface, the rear wheels had a hard time pushing the front wheels off the slippery section. The one area it did excel in though was the diagonal test where the left front and the right rear were at a loss of traction. The car did a really good job of pulling itself off that. So that was good, but in this kind of scientific-y test, you know, the Subaru system definitely performs better. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching. Be sure to stay tuned to tflcar.com for more news, views, and real-world all-wheel drive slip test reviews. That's the front left, and of course, the front right wheels. So we're gonna back the vehicle down. It's gonna settle into this crevice, and then it should just pull itself right out. Well, that's if the symmetrical all-wheel drive system and CVT do their job. Slowly back down into our rollers. Okay, we're down. Okay, parking brake off. Essentially applying some throttle. No problem.